folks, and welcome back to another Pinal Prep Spotlight brought to you by Jones Ford Buick GMC, your hometown dealer for more than 50 years. Well, we're still in playoff mode. However, we only have one team standing. On Wednesday, we had our quarterfinals for 3A boys basketball and for 4A girls basketball. Unfortunately for us, the Coolidge boys basketball team and the Poston Butte girls basketball team both got eliminated, but our last team standing is American Leadership Academy Ironwood, and they are now moving on to the semifinals, which will take place at 7:30 p.m. on Friday at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Phoenix. And David, you were there in Prescott Valley for both of these games, the Ironwood and Coolidge game. Looking at Ironwood, what did you see from them this time around?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think it was kind of an interesting turn of events in this game because, Coolidge is the team that ended up getting upset by the lower seed, and then Ironwood was the lower seed doing the upsetting. So it was really kind of a role reversal for these two teams. And, for Ironwood specifically, they use their length to their advantage. They got a lot of guys that are really strong and pretty tall that are able to kind of use their strength to their advantage, and they rely on their stars, and they rely on their stars well. Corey Wood was fantastic in this game, scored 28 points, had 4 rebounds and 4 blocks. He's just both great offensively and defensively. They play a really solid team style of basketball where they're unselfish. They play to their stars, but they're also getting involved. They're getting a lot of guys involved. Specifically, a guy I want to talk about is Jackson Edgerton. He came off the bench and scored 16 points for this team, and he was a bucket the entire night. His shooting percentage was out the roof. He was just incredible out there, and they were getting in the ball when they could. He found open shots from deep and at mid-range, and this team is really talented shooting-wise and also just defensively as well. They have some really good guys that are able to kind of get into those lanes and get rebounds, and both on the defensive side and offensive side. So this team is dangerous. I think they're definitely, people see that 7 seed next to their name, they kind of look past them, but you can't look past this team. I've been a fan of them since their playoff game against Valley Christian, the eventual champions last year. They showed a lot of promise, and I think this promise is finally showing with this win. Fountain Hills was the 2 seed they played, and they were a 2 seed for a reason. They were well on their way to possibly making it to the semifinals and finals, but ALA Ironwood put a stop right to that because this is a really well-coached, well-rounded team, and I'm expecting big things from them. It's going to be a tough challenge again this on Friday, going up against Monument Valley. They're the team that beat Coolidge yesterday, and this is a very fast. What they lack in size, they make up for in just speed and really good team basketball and shooting. They are great in the mid-range and the pick-and-roll game. So ALA Ironwood's going to have to be at the top of their game as usual, and this one is definitely going to be a really exciting matchup between the 2 low seeds that we're going to see on Friday.
The interesting thing I find about these two teams in Monument Valley and ALA Ironwood is that this last game, it was all about their three-point shooting. For ALA Ironwood, like David mentioned, Corey Wood got it down, and as did Jackson Edgerton. These 2 guys combined for 8 made three-pointers. And then on a Monument Valley side, we got to highlight Brandon Bijo. He scored a season-high 40 points against Coolidge. He made 6 three-pointers. Now, the thing here is, can the production for both of these teams carry over into the semifinals? I mean, it's a quick turnaround for them. Both of these guys played on Saturday, and they all had to travel up or down, depending on where you're at on the map, to Prescott Valley, and then they have another game. This is technically their 3rd game in a week, so we'll have to see what's left in the tank for both of these teams and who will come out on top. Real quickly, kind of a recap on our other 2 teams that got eliminated. David, what can you say about this Coolidge team?
This Coolidge team was kind of the poster child of Pinal County's basketball. I think everyone kind of expected them to be in the same position they were last year, going for another state championship appearance and possibly even a win, depending on what happened, because this was one of the best teams in the state and in 3A, because they were hot all year. They only lost once, and this team was well on their way to trying to accomplish their goals, but they ran into just some, I don't know what it is. I don't know what happened to this team. I think it just could have been a culmination or just a combination of a lot of factors, or just the travel, whether it be just the team not playing at their best or just kind of the pressure of the moment. But, a lot of these guys just had trouble in this game, and they ran into a really, dedicated and motivated Monument Valley team. And it also didn't help that it felt like an away game for Coolidge, because Monument Valley travels. Those fans love to get out there and show their support, and you could feel that that in the Findlay Toyota Center yesterday. So, but Bray Gant still had a great game in his final game with Coolidge. He had 22 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, also 4 steals as well. And Drew Madrid, 12 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 steals. This team was really good offensively and defensively, but unfortunately, they just were not good enough to beat this Monument Valley team. The Mustangs were just running crazy and getting good shots up and just kind of, they just couldn't keep up. Coolidge could not keep up to this Monument Valley team, and now we're going to have, the question is, how does this team respond and how do they move forward going into the next season? They're losing big guys like Braden Gant, Drew Madrid, Beckham Namagabe. These teams are going to have to retool and reload for next year. They have some young prospects that they're looking to kind of bring up, and also guys that are going to take over the mantle, like Carlos Coronado at point guard. He's definitely going to be big for them next year, but we'll just have to see how they respond and how they get to it. Dave Glasgow said he's looking forward to working with this next group and looking forward to the challenge of bringing this team up and possibly trying to make another contender for next year.
All right, and now transitioning over to our lone girls team in Poston Butte. We all knew that this was kind of a tall task for them. It was uncharted territory. They were making their first ever quarterfinals, and they had to go up against number 2, Flagstaff. Always difficult heading up there and playing against a fantastic team, and it showed. Flagstaff won 76-45. It was kind of a tale of two halves for Poston Butte. They led, and they were really competitive for the first half, and then in the second half, everything finally started clicking for Flagstaff. And not only that, they just kicked it up another notch, and Poston Butte just was unable to catch up with them. Threes started flowing for Bella Burkhardt, Morning Rain Hanani, and just all these other Eagles. And Poston Butte kind of seemed flustered. I mean, it's hard to imagine a Poston Butte team that's flustered, given how in sync they've been on defense and everything, but that's what happened here. And unfortunately, this is also the end of the road for 3 fantastic seniors, and Helena and Adriana Bachman and Kyla Fowler, who are essentially, the ones who laid down this foundation and turned this Poston Butte basketball program from being essentially a nobody who struggled to win games early on in Savannah Bick's coaching career, and now into a playoff contender in the 4A conference. Also, it was kind of like a passing of the baton here. Poston Butte's leading scorer was Myra Gray with 12 points. So essentially, this is going to be her team now going forward with Adriana Bachman graduating and all these other girls. So we'll have to see, just what is Samira Gray fully capable of, once she's fully handed the keys to this team and this offense. David, anything else you want to add overall?
Well, just credit to Savannah Bix for what she's been able to do with the Poston Butte program. Like you said, this was a team, first in her tenure, who would had trouble winning games and just were not even a factor in 4A girls basketball. But now they're a team to look out for every single season, and they could continue to do that as long as they're able to kind of get those prospects that they want to get back up to speed and rely on the guys that are going to be taking over for this program. And, they ran into a tough team, but now they know what it's like to kind of play at this level, and they have that experience, and they can take it to new heights and hopefully, look for better performances next year and into the future. So we'll have to see. Keep your eye out for the Broncos. They're still a very tough team.
All right, and that does it for this episode of Pinal Prep Spotlight. Be sure to tune in to Pinal Central for our semifinal coverage of ALA Ironwood.